NFL offseason with the Compas, the path for the Chiefs and the 49ers to make it back to the Super Bowl. Obviously, the 49ers do have some issues as far as Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Gilbert, you interviewed Ricky Pearsall, who should add, if they're able to keep both of those guys and then Ricky, it should be an interesting dynamic between the three. They obviously still, I think, have Jawan Jennings. They still have some other players that can contribute, Christian McCaffrey as well. Now, when it comes over to the Chiefs, they also Rashid Rice. Who knows what's gonna happen with his deal as far as legal troubles. They did get Xavier Worthy and Marquise Hollywood Brown. I do have questions about that though, just because if you can get two corners to jam them off the line, will they be able to get past that? We don't know. But Gilbert, just a little bit of that. Which one do you think is has the bigger chance of making it back next season?
Man, that's a tough question. I'll say the 49ers, and yeah, people are probably shocked, but like you mentioned, it's never happened before a three-peat for one franchise, right? And then last year the talk was like, well, it hasn't happened in 20-something years for back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and the Chiefs did that. But Kelsey's a year older. You got the whole Taylor Swift dynamic kind of lingering. You think that's maybe like a mental toll for another season? You got the Butker mess, Butker mess, not miss. He doesn't miss that much. That's why they're going to keep him around. He made a 57-yard field goal in the Super Bowl. And then you got the Rashee Rice dynamic. And for now, when we were talking about Xavier Worthy, like I know they managed last year with like a bumpy road with some kind of subpar receiver play before Rashee Rice took over in the postseason. But you got to have Rashee Rice to allow Worthy to like break free from that kind of pressure or that jamming at the line of scrimmage, because he's not
break free.
There you go. He's not a physical, bulky receiver. So when you have Rashee Rice and you have Marquise Brown, you can move around, but maybe somewhat of a gadget player like that. But just all the off the field issues, the mental burden, the wear and tear. Like I think the Chiefs is going to be a little harder. But I like I mentioned on the previous show, the 49ers also have a mental burden of like getting so close, falling back down, trying to climb up again. But I think them keeping Ayuk and Deebo together for one more year, like it still makes them a strong team to get back there. And honestly, if you're the 49ers, who cares if you lose one in the offseason for nothing? Because you're all about winning the Super Bowl. And you keep those two guys together, you have better odds of winning that.
So I'm going to go different. Well, no, I'm going to go kind of the same route that you went. I don't think the Harrison Butker thing should be as a huge issue as like people are making it seem to be. I think the Rashee Rice is the one that really is like, hey, like what's going to happen? Especially because obviously it was an accident. Who knows what the mom and the son, what's going on with them and all that. I think the Harrison Butker is just for right now. I think as soon as like training camp starts, it's all going to go away. But
yeah, if you chose a time to say dumb stuff, you do it in May, ask the star players in late May, and then move on, right?
I mean, it was just it was during a commencement speech, so obviously,
there might be some spillover in road games, but that's about it.
But see, that's kind of that's kind of the issue when it comes to this, because I'm sure last year they all got fed up with all the Taylor Swift questions.
There's always something, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, and that's what happened when Andy Reid was in Philly. It was always something that would come up that he would get asked about, and that's kind of what's led up with Andy as a coach, is that there's always something coming up. So yeah, there's always something that comes up with them. The Rashee Rice obviously is going to be interesting. What happens there, but at one point it has to catch up with you think. And by the way, the fact that fans were getting all like, oh, Mahomes looks a little bit overweight, this, that, with that picture of him showing up. I'm like, who gives a crap? Yeah. By the way, I did see a video over the weekend. Travis Kelce was at the Mavs game with Patrick Mahomes and I think and Hollywood Brown, and Mahomes was cheered and Kelce was booed. So that should tell you the state of what some sports fans are.
I think Mahomes might have got cheered because he's from Texas, right?
Yeah, no, he.
But obviously the whole Taylor Swift dynamic.
But I'm telling you, like last year it was all cute and dandy and all that. I think this year there might be a little bit of a revenge tour for the rest of the NFL against that guy. So, so I'm definitely interested to see kind of how everybody takes it. Last year it was cute. It was a news story. Now it's like, okay, that's kind of run its course. Let's see how it is. L'Jarius Sneed, I know he struggled at the end of the season a little bit, but he did come up with some clutch plays. That's a loss that may hurt them. There's Chris Jones was following. He wanted the bag. He got the bag. How is that going to happen to the real Jackson? No, I don't. I do not listen to Taylor Swift. I don't think Gilbert does. Dan and Dago did in Tennessee. We remember he was there at
Oh
the
yeah, we
bar.
have proof of the video.
Yeah, we have proof. So, but no, I don't listen to any of her music. I mean, if it's on, you're like, oh, okay, cool, but no, not really. So those are my issues with, and then Kansas City, we were talking about the bump and run. Are they going to be able to do that? Are they going to be able to separate? Are these receivers like Hollywood Brown? We know has had injuries before. Xavier Worthy, I think one of those guys already got hurt. They hurt a hamstring. I can't remember which one it was. So that's, and like you said, the aging of Mahomes. Now on the other side with San Francisco, I gotta ask the question: does Kyle Shanahan still have the attention of his team? Because at one point it's like you're making it, but you're not winning it. What is happening? And then at one point, players look at social media. These guys are seeing that Kyle Shanahan can't win the big one. He choked against the Patriots when he was the offensive coordinator. Choked against the Chiefs back in 2020. Choked it, and there's just stuff that's going to come out about him, and I just want to see if he still has the team's attention. 2, what can you do to reinvent yourself coming into this season? You're going to have to do something different. Your pass rush at one point last year was just not working the way you thought. Didn't work in the Super Bowl as effectively as you thought. So there's question marks there. There's secondary. There's question marks. Shadavius Ward, he just did something. He had called out somebody. He did something recently that I thought was pretty interesting. I can't remember. He was talking about somebody on the Eagles, I think. I can't remember. But it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with either team. But shoot, I can't. It's hard for me to choose either one.
Yeah,
but
it's tough to get back to the Super Bowl. Just
either way,
either team, yeah.
Yeah, but
and by the way, the real Jackson, I think Fernando meant Kelsey, not Mahomes, in terms of aging.
Oh, my bad. Did I say Mahomes? Sorry. I meant Kelsey. Sorry about that. I did not mean Mahomes. My question is, I'm going to go with the 49ers only because that conference is not as tough as what the AFC is going to be. Yeah. I think the AFC is going to be even more lethal this year. Obviously, well, you're not a big fan of theirs, but I think the Jets, if Rodgers can stay healthy, I think they'll be okay. You have CJ Stroud and the Texans. You have Joe Burrow returning with the Bengals. You have Josh Allen. You have exactly. You just have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of factors in the AFC.
Well, is there one or two teams that like you mentioned? There's 4 or 5 teams that you really like to maybe beat them, but is there one or two that you really really like? Because it's hard for me to narrow down the contenders. But you're right, there are more teams to push them in the AFC. I just don't know which one I want to get behind. He kind of scared me last week with the Bengals conversation we had because of the wrist factor for Burrow, and I didn't really think about it because that is a throwing hand injury. And then we saw what happened with the calf injury last year for Burrow. They weren't the same team until he got over the calf injury, and then he got hurt again. So it's not a given. So I can't even back the Bengals. I don't know if I back the Ravens. I don't know which team.
I don't like the T. Higgins, Jamar Chase right now that they're not going to. It's voluntary. But I don't like the whole dynamic of money. And I get it. Obviously, you want to get paid. You deserve to get paid. You've put in the numbers. By the way, I saw ESPN post that the Chargers were going to supposedly make a trade for T. Higgins. They did not just get rid of Keenan Allen to go trade for another receiver and pay him. So that one I don't not see happening unless, well, no.
Yeah, then you draft McConkey in the second round. You draft
exactly.
Receivers. So 2 receivers after that. I think you spend enough capital on that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. If healthy, I really do think that the Jets could challenge them.
Man, that's the team you're going with?
See, okay, their defense. The defense is what gets me.
Yeah,
I think their defense is very good, and I think it's only going to improve and it's going to get better. The only thing is their offense. I have a lot of questions about because I told you that offense is hanging on by a thread. They have
A
Mike
tendon.
Williams. They have tendon. They have Mike Williams. They have
Garrett
Teron
Wilson.
Smith, and they have Morgan Moses,
No.
who are guys that, and then Aaron Rodgers obviously hanging on by an Achilles, but there's 4 guys right there that you kind of circle. By the way, I give them credit for going offensive line in the draft instead of going for the tight end, instead of going for all the reports were if Brock Bowers falls into their lap, they're taking him. They did not end up taking him. They ended up going to they ended up going with
Olu
they ended up
Fashanu.
going exactly.
By the way, I was just looking at this, Fernando. This how far the Jets have come with their offensive line depth. I don't even know if he's going to start his rookie year because there's all the spots have been taken,
Yeah.
and they spent money on 3 veterans. They like Joe Tippmann the center, and they like Elijah Vera Tucker as a guard. So that's 5 guys right there. Obviously, it's a good problem to have, but I would rather have the young guy over some of these older guys.
And I kind of and see I don't know if I think in camp is really where they're going to be able
Yeah.
to solidify that offensive line. Um but I definitely think that the Jets are one. I really want to say the Houston Texans, but I'm very nervous
Mm.
about Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs being in that locker room. I just don't. There's something about me that makes me want to. And then it's going to be another year. By the way, Shane Day now. Oh, Shane Day was there last year as their quarterbacks coach. Now he's gone. He came back to
Oh
Los
yeah,
Angeles.
there's something there.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see how CJ Stroud takes that. So yeah, I'd probably go Jets. I can't say Ravens because the Ravens last year they had a perfect opportunity. They were at home and they couldn't get it done. So I may have to go. I'll go Jets and I'll go another team that I just don't like the cornerbacks for Hugh. Well, no, I like Stingley. I just no,
You know
I
what?
probably
I'll give you one,
give me the
Fernando.
other one. Give me the other one. I give you the
It's
Jets.
an addition by subtraction. I like the Bills to finally do it without
Really
Stephon Diggs. Because I just saw the way they played when they weren't feeding Stephon Diggs. They were going to the run game, James
Yeah,
Cook, kind of like Justin Herbert, right? Less is more approach, good offensive line protection, good running back scheme. That's what Jim Harbaugh wants to do with Justin Herbert. Like, stop being the hero, my guy, and kind of take it easy. And when it's your time to shine, you don't got. I guess you could call Stephon Diggs a diva, screaming at your face, screaming to, "Hey, give me the ball." You operate that offense how you want to, how you please, because you're the franchise quarterback. And I like what Joe Brady did. So something about that, and I hate teams for now that keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Think you're going to finally get over that hump. Dallas Cowboys, anybody? It just doesn't work. 49ers are kind of like that too. It hasn't worked, but at least they've gone to Super Bowls. Like the Bills haven't gone to a Super Bowl. They broke up the old core, the old guys on defense. You let go kind of I don't want to say like a headache, but more frustration level on both sides. Maybe Diggs does better with CJ Stroud. Allen does better with the Bills without him. It could be a win-win. So that's a team I kind of but like I keep saying, like the Bengals scare me because of everything you laid out. The
yeah.
Rodgers scare me because he's just 40 years old. Lamar Jackson, I've been down that road. I've been on that train. It doesn't end well. So I think I'm starting to go with the Bills here.
Yeah, no, I completely and you know why I think I would go with the Bills because like you did, no, because everybody's counting them out now. Everybody's like, oh no, the Bills might have fallen off, this, that. But I like the reasons why you laid out. The only thing
Well,
is on defense, I felt like they lost
it did.
a lot of
But they
veteran
do a good
leadership.
job of finding kind of late round talent to just step
Yeah,
in and be
yeah,
decent. But let me give you kind of a comparison, Fernando. Like, remember those years where the Colts couldn't get it done against the Patriots, and
yep,
they finally cracked through. Like I think Tom Telesco was part of that team, or at least helping out. Where like they were like the 6th seed. The defense got hot out of nowhere. They were running the football at will, and it was less is more with Peyton Manning, and they finally broke through. Maybe that could happen to
yeah.
Josh Allen.
No, and it really could. And that's the thing. I feel like we're at this point where I've seen and I've heard people say that this is an important year for so many younger quarterbacks. But I'm kind of like for Peyton Manning. I mean, and I don't think like a Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I don't think these guys have faced as much backlash as Peyton Manning did. At one point, I thought Peyton Manning faced a lot. Like I remember that era. Like it was bad. Like he was getting bashed left and right. He can't get it done. He can't do this. He can't. He chokes in the playoffs. And then finally in 2006, he did it when he was 8 years in. So sometimes it takes the right coach to be able to change everything that you have. and Tony Dungy was that guy for Peyton Manning. So it takes a minute. So that's kind of, I feel like at one point we know what you have in different quarterbacks. Like, you know what you have in Brock Purdy, you know what you have in Tua Tagovailoa, you know what you have in certain guys, and that's kind of like, they are who they are. But is it, can you build around them and let them be able to go? And that's why, like, when you talk about like the Chargers in a sense, like I feel like Jim Harbaugh said, you know what, let's give this guy a run game. We don't need the expensive weapons. We'd rather have the expensive pass rushers, and we have a guy that can throw the quarterback, can make anybody look good. The way Dan Diego said it for a while, he's like, if you put different guys out there, he can make those guys do well. That's exactly what he's doing right now. And let's go out there and try and win that way. Let's change it up. Every year was Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. It was guys like that. Let's change it up. Let's go with something different, and let's try and attack this a different way. And I feel like that's what the Bills are now doing. They're saying, you know what? Not business as usual. Let's change it up. Let's do something different. Heck, they should do a lot of 2 tight end sets. They have 2. I mean, they have one really good tight end in Dalton Kincaid, and they have a good one in Knox. So I definitely think that you are right when it comes to the Bills. Maybe this is what the Bills needed. They needed to change things up.
Yeah,
But
and just to answer Delwer's comment or respond to Delwer's comment, 2 contenders. He said Colts and Cardinals. Like, I'm not that high on the Cardinals, and the Colts kind of intrigue me, but not that much to be a contender. Like with
you
Super
know
Bowl contender.
why? Gus Bradley's always done a good job against
Oh yeah, Mahomes. Yeah.
Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I kind of get where
If I see
Delbert's kind of
Richardson
going with that.
staying healthy and they're like doing well in November, maybe I'll buy
I
some stock.
wish the Colts would bring back Stephon Gilmore for 1 year. I feel like if they brought back Stephon Gilmore, it would be a good
Yeah.
addition for them to kind of keep that going, especially with the pass rush that they have. Hold on, there was one thing that I told them to.
I think the Rams
Yeah,
portion.
yeah. What do you think about the chance of the Rams getting there, Gilbert?
And it's tough. Like I'm gonna take
The
similar
Aaron
approach.
Donald thing hurt.
Yeah, like it's like I kind of want to take the Chargers approach with them because it's Aaron Donald being gone. I want to see how they adjust without him. It's like I get it. They've built through the defensive front. They got some good pieces. They got some cornerstone pieces last year, but like it's still Aaron freaking Donald. Like how is everything gonna look? Like we had friend of the program, Eric Williams now, who left What's Up Bolts for a bit to join House of Horns. Shout out to Eric Williams there. Fernando, you weren't too happy about that, but he pretty much broke it down. It's like, you know what, don't expect too many changes, but it's still like a big loss of Aaron Donald, and we'll see what happens there. But they kind of get through the segment quicker because we got to get going to other stuff. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to put the Rams in the class of the Detroit Lions. And honestly, I really like the Eagles because maybe Howie got a little cocky last year and didn't do enough with the secondary and the linebacker. He did a great job of retooling that secondary. The linebacker spot a little shaky still, but the Eagles are still very talented. They paid AJ Brown another contract for a reason because he's really good. I think Jalen Hurts is also very good, and you got Saquon Barkley. I don't know about that one just yet, but the Lions, man, like they're the ones. When you have a team that's like hungry a little bit, like yeah, the Lions haven't lost too many playoff games. They don't have that Bills kind of or Cowboys, feeling where they lose a lot. They finally got a little taste last year of losing in the playoffs. Maybe that's enough motivation to come back stronger and beat the 49ers in their second kind of good year.
So Jackson mentioned it right now. He said Cristobal AD will return mid-season. That's what I was going to ask you. So if they have a pretty good team, and let's just say in December they give Aaron Donald a call, because the Patriots used to do this with Junior Seau. The Patriots, a couple like right around those 2006, 7, 8, 9 years, they would call Junior Seau. Junior Seau would come late in the season, like in December, and then into the playoffs he would go with them. It was a couple years that he did this. Do you feel like Aaron Donald would pick up the phone and would consider coming back, or do you feel like he's one of those players where I'm retired no matter what?
Well, let's put it this way. I don't think Aaron Donald's the type of guy who, when he retires, is going to gain like 30 pounds, have a beer belly, and be out of shape. He's probably going to be in the gym the whole time. They call him, maybe he'll listen. But I think he's a player who definitely will listen if, say, the Rams are flirting with the number 1 seed come December.